In a quiet suburban neighborhood, there lived a cat named Jasper. He was a beautiful tabby with bright, emerald green eyes that sparkled with curiosity. Jasper's days were filled with joy as he roamed the garden, played with fluttering butterflies, and basked in the warm sunlight. His favorite spot was under the blooming cherry blossom tree, where the soft petals would occasionally drift down and tickle his fur. Jasper's life was filled with the gentle hum of nature, the occasional bark of a distant dog, and the affectionate coos of his human, an elderly woman named Edith. Edith loved Jasper dearly, and their bond was palpable. They had a routine. Every morning, Jasper would nudge Edith awake, and she would reward him with a gentle pat and a saucer of cream. They would sit by the window, watching the world wake up, and Edith would hum softly, a tune that Jasper had come to love. But as time passed, things began to change. Edith's movements grew slower, and her hums became less frequent. The once lively garden started to lose its vibrancy. The cherry blossom tree, once lush and full, now stood withering, with fewer petals gracing its branches. Jasper noticed the change, but he didn't quite understand it. Days turned into weeks and weeks into months. Edith stopped coming to the window. The house grew quieter and the garden more desolate. Jasper would sit by the window, waiting for Edith's gentle hum, but all he heard was the silence of the empty house. The once bright and curious eyes of Jasper began to dull. He no longer chased butterflies or played under the cherry blossom tree. Instead, he would curl up in Edith's old armchair, hoping to catch a hint of her familiar scent. One particularly gray afternoon, Jasper ventured into the garden. The sky was overcast, and a soft drizzle began to fall. He sat under the cherry blossom tree, looking up at the few remaining petals. They reminded him of the happier times, of the days when the garden was alive, and Edith's laughter filled the air. As the raindrops mingled with his fur, it felt as though the world was crying with him. Jasper's sorrow was palpable. The garden, once his haven, now felt like a fading memory of lost happiness. In the dim light of the setting sun, Jasper returned to the house, his steps heavy with grief.